Alrighty, welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks. Hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas. Everyone's staying safe and healthy. Um, I had a stomach bug last week, so that was fun, but I know a lot of people have been getting sick, so everybody make sure you take care of yourselves. If you aren't already, make sure you follow all our social medias. We're on Twitter, not as active, but mostly on Instagram, at PFNCS. Follow us on YouTube or subscribe, and if you give some ratings on Apple and Spotify episodes, that'd be awesome. It goes a long way. But yeah, so today, just a solo, just gonna be me. Haven't done a solo in a long time. Tim's out traveling for the holidays, so he's seeing family and stuff. And I did some of that earlier in the week, so just gonna hop in, do a real quick one. I know everyone's busy, but there's definitely some stuff we can talk about here. So obviously, elephant in the room, the Eagles finally got back on the winning track, right? It's a weird season. That's all I'm gonna say. We, I do think we're hypercritical of this team. Um, with due respect, I mean they were in the Super Bowl last year. Looking at it, it's fair to say that they overachieved last year, right? Um, I mean we fought people with this, but it was an easy schedule. We did have some buttercups. Um, and then honestly, the path to the Super Bowl was kind of a joke. I mean, had a bye, then we played the Giants, who didn't really deserve to be there. Um, Smacked their ass, and then San Fran came to town, and um, I mean, look, I still think the Eagles had so much momentum, and that team was really talented. I still think they would have beaten San Fran even if Purdy was healthy, but he got hurt. I mean, it's part of the game. Look, it is part of the game. Um, but it could have been a different outcome for sure. But it made the cat hair on my mic. It would have been not as easy for sure. But they got to Super Bowl, they lost to the Chiefs. And it's funny because you look at how the season's gone for both those teams, KC and Philly. They're both in turmoil right now. But they're both like in control of their own destiny as well. Like KC still, I think they're 9-6 because the Eagles are 11-4. So they're 9-6 and they've been struggling a lot. I mean, they look worse than the Eagles, to be fair. Granted, they don't really have anybody playing receiver. Travis Kelce's been a shell this year. I'm not really sure what's funk he is in. Um, and even Mahomes, like normally Mahomes is the one that's winning these games. He has not been great this year. It's funny because you look at interception leaders. If I told you Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Pat Mahomes were going to be something like in the top five of interceptions thrown this year, you would have been like, where they playing? Like what? How? But they're all struggling. It's so weird. But yeah, Chiefs are. I don't know. But we gotta look at it on the bright side. Like the Eagles played, we got through the gauntlet, 3-2 through the gauntlet. It was what Dallas, San Fran, KC, Buffalo, Miami. It was a little before that too, but they beat good teams. Like they have beaten good teams. I think they're one of the few teams in the NFL that have like the highest, or they're one of the top percent teams in the NFL that have beaten other winning teams. So I think we are being hypercritical of them with like the caveat that we know they can be better, right? Like at one point in the game, it was first and 10. I think it was in the third or fourth quarter. It was first and 10. This is when it was 20-18. We'll break down the whole. I might Now that it's been a couple days, I've kind of calmed down on that game, but I'll tell you why in a moment. But it's like first and 10, they're like on their own 40 or 30, and they get a penalty, and I think it sets them back. I can't remember if it was first. I think it was a throw to AJ, and then they called holding. My cats are rummaging through my stuff. I think it was a hold, so it was now first and 20. They normal team would say, you know what? Run the ball here, get some yards back. No, 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 no. They throw it. I believe it was an incompletion. 2nd and 20. Okay, maybe now would be a good time to run it. Maybe the defense is kind of 50-50 on what you might do. Again, try and get a little bit more breathing room, a little more yards closer to the sticks. And then you can set up like a 3rd and 15, 3rd and 10, maybe. No, let's throw. I think they threw it again. I think this might have been the 3rd and 20 play. It's 3rd and 20. You've had 3 plays in a row where you threw it instead of running it when you are in the lead late in the game. Or I guess this is probably the middle of the 3rd quarter. I'm now blanking, but you then you have a miracle play. And to be fair, I thought Jalen actually played pretty well. You had a really good play by Jalen, finds AJ Brown, floats it over Isaiah Simmons for a beautiful throw, beautiful catch, first down Eagles. The problem is that we shouldn't be in these scenarios. When the crowd is sitting outside your facility with run the ball signs, when they are in the stadium chanting run the ball and every player hears it clear as day, Sirianni, the head coach, is saying, I could have heard that with two headsets on each ear. It makes you wonder how much of these NFL coaches and players and scouts and stuff are just like over analyzing things and not breaking it back down to like the simpler terms of like they are so good. They are so good at running the ball, and it baffles the mind that we just can't get it done. Like I don't understand. It just pisses me off. Like you had DeAndre Swift, like was it week 2 and 3? Have what, 300 some rushing yards combined in those 2 games? The strength of the offensive line, which can be apparent when the pass blocking, is giving up, runners to Jalen, he's got to scramble out. The strength is run blocking. Like they love the run block. They're great at it. We Swift pops off like 5-6 yards a clip. First down, run. Oh, 2nd and 6, run again. 3rd and 1. What do you do? Tush push. That should be the formula. Like it's boring, but man, is it fucking effective. And I don't understand. I don't understand. But we could talk about this forever. Um, I think overall, so here's where I said I'll come back down to earth. We wanted a blowout. I think while they looked sloppy in the first half, it was 20-3, right? I mean, Jalen had that miscue where he, instead of going out of bounds, he stayed in. I don't even think he gave an explanation for that. He just said that was my mistake. Like, what was he think? Did he think there was like room to run more? Like, there was like 6 giant defenders there. That was confusing. Um, and then luckily they got a field goal because the Giants tried to take the ball away, and morons. Um, you look back at it, 20-3 coming out of half. You have that. You have, in my opinion, two, and turnovers are part of the game, and freak plays are part of the game. But back to back freak plays is very rare, especially to a team that had benched a quarterback at halftime, right? Um, I don't even think they had. I think the Eagles doubled their yards on offense. Like the Eagles were pretty close to 500. Okay, Giants ended up with 292 total offensive yards, 106 rushing, 186 passing. And to be fair, the most of that passing yards came in the like 4th quarter when they were trying to catch up. Well, not catch up, but keep up, I guess. Eagles, 170 rushing yards, 6.3 yards per play, 28 first downs, 8 for 15 on third, 2 for 2 on fourth. They ran 74 plays, allowed 1 sack, only punted twice. They had 9 penalties for 65 yards, which also like people on social media were like, "Oh, yo, Eagles get bailed out by the refs again." I'm like, First of all, I know they're talking about that the no call pass interference on the last play. It wasn't pass interference. I hate to tell you, it was underthrown. Well, he just chucked in the end zone. First of all, Tyrod did. It was underthrown. The player that got pass interfered with was going out of bounds anyways. Like he wasn't going to catch that ball. And they were both like jockeying for position, and I believe both of them fell. I think it was Blankenship who he did not have a great game. He got beat by Slayton on a 70-yard. That's the thing. I've come around on Blankenship. I was pretty harsh on him. He's a good player. He's a solid starting safety, but man, does he lack speed. Great hitter. Seems to be a good leader. Nice in the run. He's usually a sound tackler. But man, if you're going to be the deep safety, you need to have some speed. You got to get back there. Can't let up that. And I don't know. Wow, I just went on a little bit of a tangent there. I forgot where I was going. Oh, so yeah, 465 total yards for the Birds. Jalen almost had 300 passing. But the thing that gets me is 20-3. They're going to get the ball back. They just got a field goal. They were feeling good. They just drove down the field. You have that bullshit, and I don't. I, I'm curious why this wasn't even brought up. But like, was it even a legal play that Zacchaeus got thrown into Boston Scott? Because when they were saying, they said I think it was Isaiah Simmons blocked, like pushed him in the back. And unless I'm mistaken, that's a penalty. You're not allowed to block people into the receiver of a punt or a kickoff, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so that fumble, how often do you fucking see that? Very, very, very rare. Giants get what? The ball fucking 10. Easy for Saquon to just push that in. That's a gimme touchdown. Then the next time, Eagles again, driving down the field. Um, Dallas Goedert slips on his brake when he's trying to cut. And I guess he slipped as Jalen released the ball. And then Adoree Jackson, like, I mean, he made a good catch, but it literally came right to him with no one in front of him. And again, that's a freak play. It's not super often when you see a pick six that it's because your player fucking tripped on his own accord. And that was, 14 points in a matter of what, a minute? Maybe, or, not a minute, but like 14 unanswered is never good, especially when you were up only 17. And then they went for two, I think, or whatever. So that's 2018. But like, take those two plays away. Let's say Eagles drive down the field. Let's say they kick a field goal, whatever, 23-3. The Giants weren't moving the ball on offense. Besides the first drive when they got a field goal, they were not moving the ball. Why do you think the quarterback was benched? I just didn't. And to be fair, they did not game plan for Tyrod Taylor. He's a scrambling quarterback. I love Tyrod. Obviously a VT, Virginia Tech fan. Um, Watched him in college. I was rooting for him on the Bills. I think he was a good quarterback. He was never a great or elite quarterback, but he was a damn good quarterback, in my opinion. And even at his age now, like he's a very, very usable backup. Came in the field, came in the game, and kept the Giants in it. But they didn't game plan for Tyrod Taylor. It's a whole different battle. So I think that was probably a little bit of an adjustment. But again, the Eagles are a superior team. They should have manhandled the Giants. Some freak plays happened. They got way too close, and they squeezed out another win. But here's the thing that I'm worried about. You have a little bit of turmoil going on. Something is off with this team, and I think it's pretty apparent that there's some disinterest with the players and the coaching staff, whether it's the play calling, whether it's prep during the week, whether it's execution, whether it's just the results. They're not all on the same page. They are not all happy. Like, I mean, I'm. It's easy to say, hey, they're gonna blow out the Cardinals this week. Well, I mean that and this is Tim would say, this is a get right game. But after a win, I really want to say that the Arizona game is going to be a get right game. Like I've rarely seen a team that wins a game and is like acting like they lost. Like they were pissed. Devontae Smith like wasn't cracking those smiles. Like, yeah, we won, but like I'm not happy. We're not happy. I got over 1,000 yards. Cool, but I don't care. We're not playing up to our standard. This and that. Um, I think Jalen, even in his press conferences, has been a little more vocal in saying that they've not been good. Normally we haven't been playing to our standard. We haven't been, you know, uh, playing up to the capabilities that we can reach. We haven't been efficient enough, this and that. But I think I think they need this Arizona game. They need to put up 40 on them. That Cardinals were okay in the beginning of the year. Not okay. Like they were competitive. They would give teams a hard time. And they beat the Cowboys. Even a couple weeks ago, they gave the Niners a little bit of a hard time in the first half. But they are really injured right now on defense. I don't know if Kyler's still playing because he was dealing with some injuries as well. They need to blow them out of the water. Like we've been saying this for weeks, there has to be a team that they blow out of the water. But I feel like after a game like the Giants game, where you had it in your hands that you were going to blow them out and you were going to get some confidence going, and that's the thing. If those two freak plays don't happen and they go on to win, like, let's say 33-3 or 33-10, there's a whole different mood. Whole different mood. But two freak plays, keeping the Giants in the game. Really, honestly, pretty late. Like they were in the game until like the last drive, which is sad. Um, and shout out Keely Ringo, his first interception. He's been looking good. Granted, it's been against shitty quarterbacks, but another Georgia product. He was great in college. So I'm hoping like he can be a future starter for this team. A little early, in my opinion, to tell, but I liked what I've seen. Um, but yeah, I think they need it. Like there's too much going on right now with rough play calling. I think game plan wise, the play calls looked a little better. But two things that I just cannot stand anymore is the screens. Jalen's a great quarterback, but he does not have zip on the ball. Like he does not, for as strong as he is, that ball comes out slow. So screens do not work. He takes him way too long to get the ball over the receiver. Like, how often do we see a screen do like super well? Their screens either go for like negative yards or a couple yards. Rarely do we get a first down. Rarely do we see a 20, 30 yard, big play. They don't work. And the other thing I can't stand, and this is probably what defenses are being taught to do against Jalen, is they will push him outside. Jalen defaults instead of trying to get rid of the ball or run up field, from outside the pocket. He pushes out to his right, and as, he will run as far to the sideline as he can before having to get rid of it. And every time he just chucks it away, or he makes a poor decision and throws it, and it gets intercepted. It's At some point he's got to be looking at the tape like, wow, I do that a fucking lot. Like it's just the scrambling all the way to the end to the sideline before you're about to step out of bounds needs to stop. Like it's not effective. It's and Jalen's I think Jalen doesn't get enough credit. He's a good quarterback in the pocket. He can run out the pocket and make plays, but it's not always what you want to do, especially when then your receivers are changing their routes, right? Like now they're trying to come back to you. They're trying to find an open space. It's just not. It's just not a good. You get some kitty purrs in there. It's just not a good scenario. So I don't know. I think more than the fans and more than the NFL media and all this, I think the Eagles players and coaches need this game to prove to themselves who they are. I think I don't think that I think they know that they are not playing well. I think they know that there's a lot of anger from the fans. There's a lot of upset, but it's just tough. I thought the defense overall played well against the Giants. Again, it's the Giants. They don't really have much of an offense. They really like, I mean, they were giving up a lot of sacks this year, and we only got what, one sack. I thought Hassan had a great game, minus that pass interference, which was or roughing the passer, which was, I mean, by rule, I guess it was the correct call, but like he literally tripped. He was falling into him. I, I don't remember if you can review penalties like that, but that's I don't know, kind of bullshit in my book. But the league likes to call a penalty heavy game, so this is what we get now. Um, Overall, I thought, I mean, 4 for 14 on third, you know, 3 for 5 on fourth down. I did not like, but then again, those were I think most of those were like fourth and ones, and they just gave it to Saquon, and he was like, it was slight work for him, just rolling into the end zone or the first down marker. Um, yeah, I need more from the defense. That's the biggest difference between last year and this year is explosive plays on both sides of the ball. Last year led the league in sacks, where we were getting takeaways on offense, big play after big play. We were explosive. We were getting huge chunks on the ground. We were getting huge chunks through the air. Um, Trick plays, more. It was creative. It's so bland and boring now, and neither side of the ball, they just it's not even methodical. They're just bland and simple, and their schemes are simple. And I don't know. I I need to see more. Like we have 2 games left in the regular season. I think realistically, if they can somewhat right the ship and look better these last 2 games, it'll give them a boost of confidence, which they need. This isn't to prove anything to people. They need a boost of confidence for themselves to feel better, to get hyped, to get happy. They don't look happy. They just don't look like they're having fun. So they need this game against the Cardinals. They need to blow them the fuck out. They need to be dominant. They need to execute. They need to look good. They need to be smooth with everything. They need to just have a perfect game, as perfect as you can get. And I think that'll do wonders for them because if you look at it realistically, and I know they've struggled, but bring Jared Goff here in to Philly, because hoping the Eagles hold on to a 2 seed. Jared Goff in the cold, weather. Um, I think they could beat the Lions. Baker Mayfield's had a nice season, but I think they would find a way to beat that team. We already did, right? Eagles actually that was probably the most manhandling game they had all year was the Bucks game. So they already beat them. They already beat the Rams. I mean, Stafford's looking good now. He's a little healthier, but they held them in check. Dallas is a coin flip you never know what you're getting. But again, they've only proven that they can win at home. So bring Dallas to Philly in again the cold weather, see how they perform. So realistically, I don't see their path to the NFC Championship game if they get the 2 seed is not that hard. I think if they get there and face, let's say, San Francisco, there's a lot. Like, you've had 4 games under your belt since, well, what, 6 or 7 games under your belt since they last met. If they win these last 2 games, they're on a 3-game win streak. Then you win 2 more in the playoffs. You're on a 5-game win streak. You're feeling good. Hopefully, you look good. And then you go into San Fran. You don't know what could happen. So I think in the heat of the moment, we are hypercritical of this team for good reason. They've shown a lot of struggles, but they're damn talented. This is a top 5 talented team in the league, so they need to get it together. Um, Realistically, I think I don't know. I think they can. I think they'll win their first playoff game. Second game depends on the opponent. I think they absolutely could get to the NFC Championship game based on the row of opponents they would play. But again, who knows? So, all right, damn, in a solo episode, I think that was the longest we ever talked about the Eagles, but there's a lot to talk about. All right. Elsewhere around the league. I actually want to start. We'll start at the bottom. So the Monday, the Christmas games. So we had Chiefs Raiders, man. Raiders won 20 to 14. I don't know what's going on with Casey. They are a mess. Worse than the Eagles right now. They need to figure their stuff out. Because honestly, I mean the Raiders and Broncos are actually I think the Broncos were eliminated. But Raiders are still right behind them, so they're not, not in the clear for that title yet. The AFC what are they in the AFC? No. North? No. They're the AFC West. Yeah. Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs. Yeah, the AFC West. Um, but yeah. Something that I do want to the Eagles game was rough, and honestly I was not happy after that win. But I'll put a smile on my face on Christmas night. Brock Purdy, 4 interceptions. Oh man, did I love to see that. It was a good game in the first half, minus the interceptions for Purdy, but they were right in it. And then Baltimore came out and just put the foot down and stepped all over them. They was dominant. They are the best team in the league. Um, they're scary. This could be a Super Bowl rematch for sure. I think the Ravens have it all together right now. They have a good receiving core. I mean, they lost Mark Andrews, which is tough, but they have a good receiving core around Lamar now. He seems to be healthy. He's playing kind of free, feeling good. Their defense is nasty, man. I wanted Kyle Hamilton to be drafted by the Eagles so bad in the last draft. Man, does he look good. Or was it 2 drafts ago? He's so good. He had what, 2 picks in that game? Yeah, Ravens always they always end up with really nice secondary pieces. But I saw something on, I believe it was TikTok. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. It was actually hilarious. And like kind of interesting. Um, so someone put out a video. They said the 49ers have a curse, right? So early in the year they lost to the Browns 19 to 17, right? So 49ers scored 17 points. And after that game, came out that, Deshaun Watson out for the year, Browns quarterback, right? Then they played the Vikings. They lost 22 to 17. San Fran scored 17 again. Vikings then lost Kirk Cousins for the year shortly after. The next game, 31-17, Bengals beat the 49ers. 49ers scored 17. Joe Burrow out for the season shortly after. So here's where it gets funny though. So someone said they said, what if so the Ravens won 33-19. 49ers scored 19, not 17, because of a safety Lamar had. So their theory is that the referee, if you didn't see the game, there was a referee in the end zone who tripped and Lamar kind of like ran into him a little bit as he was falling. So Lamar also fell. So his theory is that the ref he tripped Lamar on purpose, um, because he's actually from the from the future, and he saw this game coming, and he wanted to make it 33-19, not 33-17, so that Lamar wouldn't get hurt. It's like hilarious thought process there. I don't even know how your brain works. That's where your head gets at, but that is kind of wild. Every time they scored 17, a quarterback on the other team got hurt. But anyways, earlier in the week we had Rams beat the Saints 30-22. Saints are cooked. They're cooked. Um, Steelers, Rams also they're gonna make the playoffs. They might be kind of low key scary, to be honest. Steelers beat the Bengals 34-11. That was a surprise. Um, we'll get to I got two. I'm gonna steal Tim's segment, studs and duds. I'm only gonna do the. I got two studs that I wanna, or three studs that I'll highlight. No duds because trying to be cheerful for the holidays. They're also kind of harder to find. So credit to Tim. I don't know how you always find these players if you're not intently watching the games. Bills beat the Chargers 24-22. Chargers made it a ball game, but um, the backup QB is not bad for them. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what their coaching decisions are like in the next offseason to get Herbert and that team back on track. Jets beat the Commanders 30-28. I believe the Jets were up like 20-0 or something, and Washington came back, but um, they just benched. I don't know if it was this game or the upcoming game, but Sam Howell's been, I guess, benched. He's looked a little rough the last couple games, but I mean, he had a good first 75% of the season. So we'll see where their future lies. Lions beat the Vikings. I almost was correct on my upset of the week. Lions won 30-24. They have clinched the NFC North for the first time in 30 years. So congratulations to the Lions. The fan base has been hungry for a long time. And they're a good team. Defense is a little sus, but they're firing on offensively. So speaking of good teams that are fun to watch, the Browns beat the Texans 36-22. How about Joe Flacco? He just keeps balling out. It's crazy. All these teams that need quarterbacks, man. You picked the wrong one. It was Joe Flacco all along. Hopefully, Texans get CJ Stroud back next week. They've been a lot of losing side of things for a bit here. And I think they won last week, but they still have lost a couple that they should have won. Packers beat the Panthers 33-30. All of a sudden, the Panthers want to play, but a little too late. Seahawks beat the Titans 20-17. The Seahawks, I think they also had another last second game winning drive against Tennessee. But another surprise, the Falcons beat the Colts 29-10. Falcons continue to be the strangest team in the league. Some days they win and they look good. Other weeks they look like they don't deserve to be in the NFL. I couldn't tell you. This was also a bit of a surprise. Jags, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is hurt, but they do not. They are reeling at the wrong time. They are losing in December. Bucks beat them 30-12. Bucks look good. Bucks and Rams, low key, are the underdogs coming out into the playoffs this year. Um, Big smile on my face. Dolphins beat the Cowboys 22-20. It's weird. I knew Dallas went down and scored, and I looked at it. I was like, they gave Miami 3.5 minutes on the clock to not only go down the field and, score, but to go down the field and just waste time and kick a field goal to win. With a good kicker. They had Jake Sanders or something Sanders. Good kicker. So that was, I mean, the writing was on the wall. They were going to lose after they gave them so much time left. So Dallas has lost two straight. Love to see that. Eagles now control the NFC East completely. They just need to win out against Arizona and New York, and it is all theirs. First time we'll have a back-to-back NFC East champion in 20 years or something like that, since the Eagles did it 04, 05, I believe. Rounding out the last two games, we had the Bears beat the Cardinals 27-16. I think Justin Fields got hurt again. I think he's dealing with an injury. I can't remember now. But they look decent. They're pushing for a wild card. And then the Patriots somehow beat the Broncos 26-23. Russell Wilson's now been benched, likely for contract reasons, so they don't have to pay him or whatever it may be. But I think they were eliminated from the playoffs because of this loss. Or not eliminated, but it's like a 5% chance now instead of a 70% chance if they had won. But that is a roundup on week 16 as far as the game picks went. We did good, or we did well. I went 9-7, so not the best, but not terrible. Tim and Mike were 10-6, both. So right behind them. overall, we're all still really, really positive. We're all well over 100 wins. No one's close to 100 losses yet. Um, I mean, Mike's guest picks are in the 90s, but still fucking impressive. So shout out us. All right. So like I said, no duds. We're gonna keep the jolly, cheerful vibes going on here. But first stud we got to point out who helped one of my fantasy teams win. The other team I left them on the bench and kind of cost me the game. So we have Mr. George Pickens, who would not block for his running backs a week ago, went 4 receptions for 195 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's 50, that's like 50 yards a clip per catch. So that's pretty crazy. On the other side, I mean, T. Higgins, 5 for 140. Pretty good for them as well. Jake Browning, I mean, 300 yards passing. He's a pretty, he might get, some looks for a job. You never know. I mean, not on the Bengals, obviously, but also weird that Mason Rudolph had the best like passing statistics for Steelers quarterback all season. Like that team just needs they need a good quarterback and they might actually be decent. Like they might actually not be fraudulent. But Bengals Steelers both 8-7. Another receiver that had a insane game for unfortunately against me in fantasy. This motherfucker had 50 fantasy points. Um, excuse me, Kitty. I think it's funny. Like fantasy football, you play. I mean, it's like the NFL. You play all year, and then you get to playoffs. Most leagues have one game. So I scored 171 points and I lost because Amari Cooper had 50. So I think it was like 171 to 176 or 79. It was close. I gave it a good fight. I had Brees Hall, who's my other stud. But Amari Cooper, man, 11 catches, 265 yards, and 2 touchdowns. There are some receivers in the league who don't even get 260 yards in a season. Man, he fucked me. Ugh, that shit hurt so bad. Um, yeah. And then elsewhere, like I said, Brees Hall for the Jets had a really good game. Um, find the stats for you real quick. They seem to have disappeared. So yeah, we have Brees Hall, 20 carries, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rushing game, yeah, not bad, right? Solid performance. It's almost 5 a clip. Receiving, 12 receptions, 96 yards. How many running backs do you see with 12 receptions? Again, some running backs only get 12 receptions in a whole year. Get 12 receptions in the game. That's crazy. So he had 180 or was that math? 191 total yards, 2 touchdowns on 32 possessions, 32 times touching the ball. So shout out him. Great game for all those guys and yeah. So hopefully everyone was on the positive side of that for fantasy. I was only on the positive for one of them. So but yeah. Or two, I guess, Brees Hall um and George Pickens. But Amari Cooper, man, thanks for nothing, bro. All right. On to like I said, this has already been a bit of a long episode. We're just gonna get right into game picks. So looking at it, week 17 of the league. Remember, we have 17 games. I think that was inactive last year. So it used to be 16 for a long, 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 long time. But we are now at 70. So just getting my things ready here. We are looking at Thursday night, which is today. Jets at the Browns. Now, the Jets, they're not very good. They've already been eliminated. Aaron Rodgers, honestly, like, look, shout out you for, um, you know, coming back after that injury, but yeah, no, you're annoying. So I'm going with the Browns. I think they're hot. They're playing well right now as a team. They all look good. So yeah. We will get Tim's picks before I'll get them from him today, but you won't see the posts on Instagram for it until probably Saturday. So you'll just get my picks, and then at the end I'll get our guest picks will be PC, Mr. Pat Casey. I'll get those to y'all as soon as I get through this. So like I said, I'll take the Browns here. Lions, Cowboys at Dallas. Nah, as much as I want to take Detroit here. Dallas isn't going to lose three straight, especially if they're back at home now. I'd love if they would lost three straight, but I don't see it. So I'll take Dallas. Titans at the Texans. Again, I think CJ Stroud is playing in this game 2 weeks after the concussion, which is great. I might need to start him in my fantasy championship game. Still debating that, or Jordan Love. Not a great option. But yeah, I'm taking Texans here. Falcons at the Bears. Two dog shit teams, but one has been less dog shit lately, so I will take the Bears. Dolphins at the Ravens. Hmm. I could, you know what? This screams letdown game to me for the Ravens. For as good as they have looked, the Dolphins all of a sudden are starting to play kind of well. Like, I mean, they barely beat the Cowboys, but they're a good team. Um, but I'm taking Miami here. I think that's my upset of the week. I mean, we're upset. They're both great teams, but I'm taking Miami. Um, in Maryland, a little ballsy, YOLO. Saints at the Bucks. I'm gonna take the Bucks. Saints have been too much of a wild card. I don't know what to make of them. Bills at the Patriots. I guess also screams trap game. Bill Belichick knows the Bills, but they Bills need a win to stay. I mean, they haven't even claimed a playoff spot yet, so they need this win. So I'll take the Bills. Cardinals at the Eagles. Like I said, I really think this needs to be a blowout game for the Birds. Um, so hopefully it is. I'm taking Eagles. Next game, Jags at the Panthers. Here you go, Tim. Here's your get right game for the Jaguars. They're going to beat the Panthers at home. Raiders at the Colts. This is actually tough. I don't know how much of a home field advantage Indianapolis has. Uh, damn. Um, Raiders, they have some swag right now. I'm gonna go with the Raiders. They are very much like the Bucks. Like they're just all clicking right now. They're playing well. I'm gonna take the Raiders. Colts also need a win, but shit. Rams at the Giants. I'm gonna take the Rams here. Not much discussion. 49ers, Commanders. Again, not much discussion. 49ers probably gonna blow them out. Steelers at the Seahawks. If it was in Pittsburgh, I might take Pittsburgh, but I'm gonna take the Seahawks here in Seattle. Um, Bengals and the Chiefs. I don't, man. You got to just keep picking KC because at some point they have to get back on the winning side. Um, man, yeah, I don't know. I'm yeah, I'm gonna take KC here. Then we have Chargers at the Broncos. Gonna go with two another garbage matchup. Go with the Chargers here. And then Sunday Night Football, Packers at the Vikings. Um, this might actually be a decent game, but I'm gonna take the Packers. And it doesn't look like we have a Monday night football game. And Monday is New Year's Day, which normally has a ton of college football, so that could be a reason. But so those are the game picks. So like I said, Pat is our guest picker this week. He'll be taking Browns, Lions, Eagles, Dolphins, the Bills, Bears, Colts, Jags, Titans, Rams, Bucks, Niners, Seahawks, KC, Broncos, and Green Bay. So, yeah. So that's a wrap on this little solo episode. Mostly just game talk. I wasn't really gonna try and get too deep into our normal segments, but um, as far as power rankings go, we didn't do one last week. I mean, it's the Ravens. The Ravens are the number one team right now. Ravens, Niners. Uh, it's tough after that. It's just a drop off after those two. But in the top 10, no specific order. I mean, the Eagles are still top 10. The Cowboys are still top 10. The Dolphins are in the top 10. Lions are in the top 10. I put the Browns in the top 10. And then maybe the Rams or the Bucks could be in that discussion as well. But yeah, it's Casey. They're borderline. They've just not been look good. They've not looked good. They're on name players and coaching staff alone. They would be in the top 10, but they're just not looking good right now. So, but like I said, I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. And wishing everybody a Happy New Year. Don't get too blasted. But yeah, but everyone's looking forward to a new 2024 year, COVID year. Signing off. Ciao.